Or I could just say hi with my voice. Greetings, welcome to the Strangenet. My name is Dojel. I am, have been, and always will be your very own stranger. And we might be getting close to the end. And my thing isn't lighting up. Why isn't my thing lighting up? Hello, Valent. How are you? Much is taken, much abides. Now, I have no idea what I was doing. I think something with this awakened feather, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Why AI upscaling for Nvidia is broken unless it's used for Chrome. I couldn't tell you that. Sounds like they're using a Chrome specific feature, but what that feature is, I couldn't tell you. I mean, Nvidia has been having driver troubles lately. That's not entirely a you thing. Sure. I'm just saying that maybe it's not you or your system that's having the problem. Maybe it's just Nvidia in general. consulting engineer. You know what? You're hired. I'll find some fuel for you to burn. Huh. Apparently the wood scrap counts as, or the wood blank counts as fuel. I guess that shouldn't surprise me, but it somehow does. Gideon soaks. Aside from the fact that I don't really need to use so much core health on this. Let's see what happens. I'm also just gonna study up on the sun's designs. Mostly because that's easier than talking this lady's ear off. So if I just do this and make another Torque's cleansing, Moon and Winter, Edge and Knock, Moon and Thrones. I should go visit the Tree of Wisdom for a bit. Keeper level hard, the soaks are the precursors to the January sanguinary. see. A sign outside this cell reads, "Warning, do not insert keys without first invoking adequate authorization." The key is in the staff room, but I shouldn't turn it without invoking powers to provide a reasonable facsimile of authorization. Invincible audacity. I should be able to get into the 14s. In fact, this. I could use preliminal meter to go even further beyond. And a novel method for invocation and contrition. Ingenious and rather beautiful techniques for entreating the names of the hours, developed by Rory Morrow, who styled himself the Sage Knight. Huh. Like the Sage Knight's Lodge. Yeah, interesting. Oh god, Julian Cosley is here. Julian is known to be a Winterlord. At a prescribed date, his hour patron will ensure him a beautiful ending, but until then, he is even harder than most long to dispose of, finally. That said, he is known to have been defeated by an Ascendant Long in the 1920s, and his true current status, a diminished survivor, a determined memory, something else, is the subject of esoteric debate. I take it Julian Cosley is actually one of the rivals you can fight in the Apostle routes, but that might be incorrect. I might be misremembering that. In any case, I need to reread this book, or a different book. I'm gonna read this book. And seek some unusual help. January Sanguinary, the true blood of Saint Januarius. Operations of a certain finality. Subtitled The Hammer Sundering, the work of an anonymous adept who violently despised the invisible Serapeum, the library of the Watchman's Tree in Alexandria. I see. Just first, a rare surviving copy of Christopher Illopoli's notoriously unsuccessful volume of experimental poetry. Huh. And experiment beyond sight. Another recording. Except this one has chosen to be irritating. Experiment Beyond Sight, Ilse Bischoff's bewildering, widely derided final film. I'm pretty sure at the end of this, Denzel's gonna wanna come talk to me. About maybe taking it easy a bit. Invincible Audacity. A general says, when I make the right choice, I win. An Illuminate says, when I win, I determine which choice was the right one. Skill, edge, and heart. I could serve him the Invincible Audacity. And then use a drink to get my head in. Because while it is not the most simple prospect in the world, I can repeatedly create that. Dr. Serena Blackwood. Zidane is dead. It's a pity. The man was an artist, and it's concerning. I wonder if the death might not have something to do with his last work. He was already making use of some very unusual alloys, very unusual techniques. I'd like to use the collection to develop some theories further. I think Zidane might have been using East metal in his work. That would upset quite a number of people, from the Bureau on down. Thank you, librarian. I hope I can always trust you to keep our conversations confidential. Oh god, if he was involving the city and built in his project? The techniques rely on the unique qualities of the Attica-Paean tongue. Motto professes himself surprised that they serve better to entreat the names of the vagabond than the names of lantern or winter hours. Motto demonstrates that preliminal meter techniques can be used with sufficient rows to invoke the vagabond's name, transforming an enduring reflection into something wider of sky. So enduring reflection plus preliminal meter plus enough rows equals something else. Why do I not have an enduring reflection? A wintry forbidding, icy mists coil and drift. Subtitle: The Hammer's Sundering, the work of an anonymous adept who violently despised the invisible cinemator. The author outlines the means they had taken to sabotage the place and its collection, which increasingly seemed more poetic than effective, to the point where the whole business may in fact be some kind of allegory. The author gloats that with the techniques of putrefaction and calcination, they have transformed the library stocks of Azamel to a seduction of black sapphire, which will ensure the texts therein contain only moon truths. So in other words, use putrefaction and calcination to make black sapphire wash. Next. The film is an unrelenting fusillade of apparently unrelated images. Birth, mirrors, grain threshers, our animal attacks, crowds at stations, but a single image appears again and again, dominating the rush of images until the film is only a single static shot. The repeating image is a view through a grimy window pane of a nearby tower. There is a vague impression of flickering light around the tower top. Just as the film ends, smoke plumes from the tower. That's it. Nothing of note at all, unless one happens to recognize the view of the Crucible Tower from the window of the librarian's quarters, and unless one happens to know that Isle Bischoff never visited Ilse Bischoff never visited Brankrug or even Britain before her untimely death. Well, that's very odd indeed. Alright, Christopher, what do you have for me? Because there's no kill quite like overkill. Intuition. Impulse doesn't help. Given the knife. Why did I? Huh. Icy mist, coil, and drift. The Chapel Escalade. The Horned Axe says, never speak of this mystery. When the Thunderskin was mortal, he served the hours who slew my kind. I required the Thunderskin's death, and so the Grail gave him up. There is always a reckoning, and nothing is truly forgiven. Oh damn, son. Here we have an altar to the horned axe. A cat of depths. And an owl of spirals. I'm almost certain this thing hides a Newman. I just don't know what the trigger is. Is this book really demanding my rose? Oh, also, if that's a rose book, then this is the wrong shelf. Oh, that's what went wrong there. This is a rose book. Duh. The just furs. Ha, I get it. And a honey. Well, it wasn't Edith Liminal, but that was worth. Where has she gone? The speech. Alice, it's getting kind of difficult to fit all this stuff. Why did I make that? Gallipoli is clearly more interested in the occult than the aesthetic aspects of the work. By most measures, the rhymes are contrived, the meter inconsistent, the imagery banal. Still, even the worst verses have a compelling quality, and I find myself drumming my fingers on the desk to accompany their rhythms. Might as well make the payon. And then afterwards, Illipoli discusses mnemonic holometaboly, by which he seems to mean a sort of crafting process where memories, when fed into preliminary meter technique in the presence of enough knock and rows, can blossom and fissure into more potent versions of themselves. Alright, that leads to impulse. Thanks, Enzo. Helps a lot. I don't know, Oriflammes? I mean, it's not like I give a shit about the tally, but also Jesus. damn it, I already had a secret threshold. Whoops. My shells are starting to overflow. That's, unideal. Guess I could make use of some of these. trying to save myself from having to do more work, but guess not. Take a swim. Start playing some music. Come up with a confounding parable. Clouds actually help. Need to get these witchworms out of this book so that I can clear the shelves. Does that set me back a tiny bit? Yes, but I don't really care. I want these witchworms gone. there any reason you're refusing to cooperate, Lord? Surely that affair has to be ending soon. Another jar of that witch work. Huh. I never read this one. Sabazine. An echo of silence. a very heterodox history of the House of Leyte as recorded by the Serenity, a Letean adept who declares that the House of Leyte was created explicitly to prevent the ascension of any more mortals to name or our status. I see. Well, we're cracking this one. Well, not with drums and dances. Where's my edicts? Edicts inviolable. Mr. Kennedy, I am once again asking you for an intermediate zoom level. I understand that being this zoomed in is mostly my fault, but still. Or rather that having such a full inventory is mostly my fault, I guess. Eternity cannot be escaped, but in history it may be delayed, the Serenity explains. The gods who are flesh, by their nature, are a surrender to eternity. The roots of the house are said to pass into the woods of dreams, through the free forests in the bounds. identified as Bay Eli, the Black Cedar Forest, and the Brecheliad. While one tree of these may yet stand, one single tree, the histories continue. That is extremely not explaining. The Collected Hush House Lecture. In the 1800s, Dr. Adam Peel was invited to give a series of lectures to the Curia. They combined his pithy view of the histories with his particular brand of unhelpfully ironical insight. Whoops, that required a tool. Relevant furniture is easy enough. stretch my legs and change my point of view. (1776), the third history, Lewis declares the Mask of Masks and forbids mention of the Great Riving within the walls of the Palace of Versailles, although by this point the worms are observed to move openly along the boulevards of Paris, sometimes even in daylight. The army is redeployed to defend the court. The mask lasts one lunar month and attracts several of the long abroad in Western Europe at the time, fleeing the worms, or hoping to take advantage of the desperate Louis, or seeking access to the sealed mirrors of the palace, or just eager to attend the most inventive and desperate debauch of the century. Many know espouse wormish sympathies. Let 100 histories flourish. Tear down the tyranny of eternity. To grow long is usually to cast off these sympathies. There would be no immortality without eternity, and eternity, we often seem to decide, is only tyranny as long as we are not eternal. I see. I could have kept the name there, little. Or rather, I could have used it. Not the worst thing in the world, what's happening though. The History of Inks, a legendary grimoire of exotic ink-making lore. The cover and some of the pages, unfortunately, are stained and crusted with something more like mucus than ink. I see. I should just... Opening the Sky, an unusual recording of Pharaoh's Opening the Sky, composed for the coronation of the new king, Henry IX. The record bears the suppression stamp Expunge. The encaustum maracot is refined from the liquor called Leafy in the presence of nectar aspect. The priestesses of the knot have also learned to brew maracot in this wise, yet for the nature of their arts, their task may be easier. The history concludes with the admission that the encaustum named Orpiment Exultant was once drawn from the veins of the Forgelong. Thankfully, it seems, it can also be refined from ionic essence using the techniques in this book or with transformations and the jewel signs. Huh. If I recall correctly, don't even need to use metal for that. first movement is soft, autumnal. The second unsettling, febrile. The third is bright, soaring, rapturous. The fourth movement is glassy, slithering, a tintinnabulous icicle rattle. The fifth returns to the theme of the third, bright and rapturous once again. But this is a choral movement. It becomes apparent, though, that these are much, much too pure and high to be human voices. They recall birdsong. They recall the sweep of the windswept sky, blue turning black at the edge of the higher heaven, and they wrench the heart in a direction the bureau does not permit. Hence why they need to be expunged, I suppose. Don't even need the fucking metal. Orpiment Exultant. Colors in the liver. Also Bischoff's most controversial film, blamed for outbreaks of cannibalistic killings in Tiflis and Leipzig. Alrighty then. Also, I never finished cataloging these, did I? Morphe Codex. Priestess of the Sisterhood of the Knot claims to have discerned the true meaning of the Thunderskin's birth. That might actually be worth investigating. The road to Janus. Holy shit. That one might take some effort. 18. If I combine 5 with 4 and 9, that makes 8. And the Grand Passage of the Hours. You know, just in case one incredibly difficult book wasn't enough to deal with. Well, I say incredibly difficult, this one is actually somewhat trivial. Or at least easy. Oh, that's not good. That changes things. Good thing this Morphe Codex isn't the worst thing in the world, even though it does center on Tridesma Hiera. Gotta love the Numa jump scare. Is someone interested? Spencer has been a number of things. Journalist, private detective, priest, suppression bureau irregular. He's still a number of things. That might not be a problem. He's disinclined to speak. He hopes to visit the ruinarium beneath Hush House, to pass through it, to go out somewhere. Take him to the ruinarium or refuse entry by returning him to the endless guest mode. Note that Spencer arrives with Numa, but he will lurk in the Cornish mists even after Numa is over, until you resolve his business. Which one was that? Spencer stands before the skeleton center of the room, feet planted firmly, fingers writing a restless nest. The Baldomerian and I, he confides, would argue about what was real and what was not. Bodies, hours, souls, monsters, nowhere. I suggested that reality, his hands writhe, was something more like proximity. To be more real might mean to pass further, but further in one direction would be more distant in another. Closer to one Closer to one real, closer to another essence. She disagreed, but then later she became the Baldomerian. Thank you, Harold. Will you leave me here to go out? Sure. Go and finish your business, dude. The stars move still. Time runs, the clock will strike. Oh, hi, Julian. The Encauston Terminal of the Fourth History. I kind of want to line these up now. Even though that does imply that I need to make another batch of Brinculants. Or not Brinculant. Ult. Porphyrian. Nillicant. Sometimes these things just refuse to cooperate, don't they? Magus, winter-long controversial philosopher. For an immortal exalted by an hour of silence, especially one who might be dead, he has had a great deal to say for himself over the years. Yeah, he sure likes to argue and write books. Why does the consider thing say in Numa anyway? If Solomon is gone, if Solomon remains. What happens if I give him this? Nothing important. What happens if I give him the other one? He's apparently not interested in his own books. I guess it's only fair that you can't sell a Newman, though. A gang of heretic priests agreed to strike the fear of the change into the infuriatingly atheist citizenry. At night they dress as four-winged angels and crawl down chimneys and through windows to savage members of their congregation. The priests are caught by unidentified figures wearing heavily mandibled masks, like grotesque caricatures of ants. They are force-fed larvae. A final caption indicates that at dawn the larvae will hatch. Jesus. ideally it would be something cheap. So, Grail or Moth? Well, that's Grail. Oh, right, that's not how that works. I mean, still pretty easy to get something done. Also, I forgot, I don't have to care about keeping these anymore. Cause shit's about to hit the fan. So this is the writer credits the Red Grail, the Ringu, and the Horned Axe, the powers the sisterhood reveres, with agreeing a final treaty between the hours of the house and the hours they displaced. The Thunderskin loved the Yu, and the Grail destroyed him, as restitution for the slaying of the Horned Axe's sisters and brothers. The Thunderskin entered the monsters through the Peacock Door, a privilege never given to the witch and sister, but then their merit was much less. The writer admits that entering through the Peacock Door is unseemly, but insists that under the circumstances, there was no other way. The Tridas Mahiera. That resting anyway. And this is why I keep a stockpile of permanent memories I seemingly never use. Just in case Numa takes blindsides you. crap, that's Moon. Oh god damn it. A curious hunch, a sudden unlikely certainty. Strings and songs. Incidentally, no. The uncustom terminal of the Force history. It's the incandescent orange of Force. One ingredient, it's been, as it were, long rumored, is the blood of candescence. Certain Masonic and related traditions venerate what they call OE. What is a candescent? Glowing or dazzling from or as if from great heat. So basically the same as incandescent then. Whoops, I forgot to treat. That's unfortunate. Spencer is gone, so thankfully, are any passengers he still carried. His absence is a notable acuteness. The Ruinarium now admits knock intentions. It also provides knock aspect. Huh. Neat. A trace. Hobson has entered the Ruinarium and will not be seen again. The Ruinarium has found the next phase. We would like to believe that Spencer passed through the Ruinarium into one of this liminal nearly realities beyond the monsters and the bounds. Nowhere, or East, or the lower skies, or the House of the Moon. We would like to believe that he did so to honor his last responsibilities, and that the change in the Ruinarium is in the nature of a valedictory blessing. A fleeting reminiscence, a moment in time. In another moment it'll be gone. Well guys, F. That's all I have to say on that one. One moment. You know what, now that Numa has cleared out all my memories, I think I'm gonna take a look at the Tree of Wisdoms again. And let's start with preservation. 7 or higher, so the edict's inviolable. Give me core, quench any dwellings. Give me heart. And rights of the roots would also give me heart. I do kinda need more heart. But I'm gonna start with the lowest level one first, actually. Actually, first of all, I'm too far in to still care about what I slot into these lower ones. I should just fill these in. I know I've been saving the languages, but at the same time, who gives a shit? You know what? Adicapian or fusing? Both seem to give tryst. And I could not tell you which makes better use of it, so I'm just gonna slot in Adicapian. A great and golden king held the only key to his deepest prison cell. One day he gave the key to his minister and offered him a choice, to submit to execution or to visit the cell and tell him what he found there. The minister made the wiser choice and returned to show the king what he had found in the cell, a mirror. Then I release you, the king declared. The minister left the palace that same day. His reflection, of course, said nothing at all. Of containment. Fuck it, why not? Certain knowledge is forbidden to mortals, except in 9 great libraries protected by the Covenant stones they hold, where this knowledge can be safely recorded in the inks called Encaustum. These libraries are together called the Watchman's Tree, and the Covenant marked by these stones shares that name. Horo Macastry 4. Edicts Martial. That fits. All the hours are defined by their opposition to other hours, just as we are defined by the battles we choose. This is a matter of the Horo Macastry wisdom. Which does make sense. Horo Macastry is the study of the hours. That's, next up is Nyctodromy level 3. Path and Pilgrim. Fed. Fits. The Path. Speech is the key to dream, and because we are speaking apes, every night is a journey. Brief and to the point. Skolakosophy. Pentaments and Precursor gives Arab. That fits. Catalyst. Of the Lygaean Medusa, it has been said, she might be the oldest of her kind still living, and she is dead. Skolakosophists say she is the oldest of the Siglas kind, of a carapace lineage famed for the breadth of their wisdom and the sharpness of their teeth. Nyctodromy. Fat is a... How about strings and songs instead? That's shop, that definitely doesn't work. Sickle and Eclipse. It's also shopped. I remember Nyctodromy being kind of annoying. How about Door and Wall? Also shopped, but at least that one makes sense. And Disciplines of the Hammer is also shopped. Why does everything want to be shopped? Well, I guess Disciplines of the Hammer is the lowest level one that fits, so in you go. A certain parable of the night arts tells of a pilgrim who raised a gate of amber and orichalcum that they might pass to reach their destination, but then found that their destination lay on this side of the gate. Ain't that a classic? Birdsong. Literally only one thing. Strings and songs. Gives core and fits, so in it goes. There are no words in the Song of Birds, so Birdsong had no beginning and will have no end. Brief, but okay. Horo Macastry 5. Fat, no. And Marian Lapidary. Would give Fat, which doesn't fit. Door and Wall would also give Fat. And the Edicts Inviolable would give Metal. That's kind of a bummer that none of these really work. But that's fine. Industry 6. Glass blowing and vessel crafting. Gives me fast. Luminal meter. Gives me whist. This one does fit. Glass the egg. The highest purpose of a glass vessel, to show clearly perfectly what would otherwise be hidden within. Perhaps this was the first purpose of the first hour, and only in that first moment could there be perfect clarity. Illumination. 5 and up. Ragged crossroads. Would be fast. I'm gonna stop taking fast for now. Pyroglyphics. Metal. That works. Fire was the first understanding. The hour named Moth learned that even before the Watchman brought light. That's preliminary meter, which would give me more fast. So it's either whist or fast. I'm just gonna leave that empty then. Hushing. Changing Quellings would give me more tris, which doesn't really make sense, so I'm just gonna continue. We're back at Nyctodromy, which doesn't want to accept anything useful. Skolakosophy wants to give me even more shopped. And the Bosk wants to give me Arab. I'm not gonna take that one. Illumination. Illumination is a surprisingly physical. Wisdom. Considering its seeming alignment with the aspect of Lantern, which is a very non-physical aspect. swear that used to be Nyctodromy, but obviously not, so I am clearly coping. Hieroglyphics. Use illumination to understand better who I am. That's the boss, because obviously... This one is birdsong, which I can't fill in. Now I really gotta figure out how to get that fat to work. So it's either Nyctodromy through Moth, Nyctodromy through Rose, or Horomachistry through Rose. There we go. Oh, and also Tritz. How do I deal with that? Well, first step is finding where my goddamn Trist is. Serpents and Venoms. Hushery Moon. Magister Hokobalt. Now then, this lark business. Zidane's gifts were mediocre at best, but I think I might salvage something from his work. Zidane made use of some unusual materials. If I am to salvage their work, I must understand their properties better. Yes, that will be sufficient. Don't fret, librarian. Here's your free little gratuity. Oh, so you're a dick, is what I'm hearing. That should be sufficient to... Oh, sweet Jesus, I didn't that's apparently excessive. Red, the first flower. The Watchman's Tree has a covenant that forbids knowledge to mortals, but permits it in the covenant houses of the tree, like Brankrokyle. The red flower of Calyptra, the fire fueled by truth, was its first defense. Fire consumes knowledge, but fire also gives light. The tree is rooted in paradox. Horned Axe Oldest. The horned axe bears two blades, permits passage when passage is to be permitted, waits at the threshold. The horned axe, who forbids contradiction, is the oldest hour. Other hours might seem older, they are not older. I see. I don't know if I want your fucking card, dude. You're a dick. from nowhere origin. The Frithige kind of the Carapace cross dreamed themselves out of black claws to be their own monarch. If we inherit the empty throne, we dream ourselves into every night to come. Add Sky Forge. I think we already have an origin, don't we? No, we have speech to wound. I didn't want the Nillikant. That's right, make a determination. Inks of Revelation. It is true. Do I need to sacrifice my hunch to evolve these things? Would be somewhat irritating, but such are the sacrifices we must make. Let's hope about starting the thing. A reluctantly disclosed P.O. box in Dover. I am the librarian of Hush House, and I have made my determination. If you're considering a Hartha history, the origin shell determination is relevant, or if you're considering a knock history, speech the wound is relevant. So 9, 13, 18, 25. I think I can actually write down a history. Which is slightly irritating because I didn't really prep for that. And also, I do still want to make the Marakat. Nictodromy Forge. and illumination forge. Alternatively, hold on Macastry Edge. The Edict's Marshal. And finally, Ita Street Sky, which is the bells. Assuming I picked the right thing. Brighten my fast to its utmost. Oh, that's right, I want to make some muzzle. could just brute force it with Inks of Power, I guess. Would cost me my Sacrament Malachite. You know what? For the sake of completing this set, I almost kind of wanna. Ah, fuck it. Pyrrhus Archaeologist. Keeper level nectar, Pyrrhus Auriculcinus is a precursor to the Sacrament Malachite. Oh, nice. A peculiar pair with coppery skin that barely tints under the pressure of fingers. Maraca, the enclosing terminal of the Fifth History, the color of the principle that once occupied the place that heart us now. In the Fifth History itself, the cult of Maracat was everywhere suppressed, but it's sometimes been venerated otherwise. An offer from Oriflamme. An extremely easy book. Sacrament Malachite. And here we have all 5 of the great inks. And I kind of don't know what to do now because I've kind of been had a victory condition thrown at my lap. I guess I can start by reading this book. The Limian Burshgash makes a series of prophecies regarding the initiates of the House of Silence, with intricate, if unhelpful, predictions on their passage through the house. The 6th initiate is priest and key, gate and church. He shall cross the sea and open the tide. He shall not be the 11th, yet there shall be 7 between them. In the first year of his time, the flower door is open. He shall not be the 11th, yet there shall be 7 between them. 6, 7, 8, 11. Hang on. Does that mean... The 6th would also be the 13th. Or alternatively, he would also be the... No, because that would be Eva the Wolf. In the name of the roots, out of the blood, of the buzzing within. Amen, I suppose. might as well read this if it's gonna be this easy to read. Where's my header back? Oh, doesn't even require header back. The 12th initiate is Salvation and Rack, Steed and Rider, who chooses one blossom of three, who casteth away the key, and whom the key shall not cast away, who comes after the flame and before the snow. So, obviously that's me, who chooseth one blossom of three, so that's related to the flower determinations. It is essentially saying that the determinations is literally you deciding what is and has been true, which does kind of make sense when you're writing a history. You are quite literally redefining the past. I wonder if there is a term for taking I wonder if there is a term for taking something that is clearly symbolic and making it literal. The illustrations are certainly striking. They flush the skin and glow beneath the eyelids after the book is closed. Honestly, I think part of the thing, if I want to finish this next time, is I'm going to have to figure out how to write the petition for Numa, because that is somewhat strange. We must devour to be devoured. We cannot be undevoured, as we cannot be unborn. You know, I never know what to do with these marks, because the only place you can use them is the altars, and there's usually enough ways to interact with altars. So I tend to skip on making these and using them. But then again, I am also that jerk who actually spends lessons on the skill that they are named after, rather than just spending them on something that shares an aspect with it. Because you don't actually have to spend a lesson on the skill it's named after. It just has to share an aspect with it. But for some reason, that doesn't come natural to me. But the Aura struck, I'm going to terminate. So I'm pretty sure, if I can manage it, next time it's gonna be the end of this run. I don't know if I'll do another, because these runs are not short. But I have some things I would like to prep for the finale. On a different note, no, there is actually not a different note. I'm a week out of bounds. So yeah. In any case, I'm just gonna raid brew. You know who Brew is if you're around here. They are, oh god, they're doing Shiva. Well, that's a blast from the past. The first raid I failed to clear. And the start of the tradition that I shall never clear the 8th raid. In any case, I would like to thank everyone who came and watched me today. I would like to thank Valen for keeping me company today. I'm sorry I stuttered on your name there. Go have fun with Brew, have a nice night, and as always, don't be a stranger, because that is my job. I'll see you next time. Good night.